It's 2:47 a.m. You're lying awake, staring at the ceiling, doing mental math that never seems to add up. Will I actually have enough? What if I live to 90? What if the market crashes right after I retire? You've got spreadsheets, retirement calculators, maybe even a financial advisor who keeps saying, stay the course. And your anxiety keeps saying, yeah, and what if the course falls apart? Because here's what retirement fear really is. It's not just do I have money, it's do I have control. It's the feeling that you're walking toward a date on the calendar where your paycheck stops, and after that, you're basically negotiating with the market, inflation, healthcare, and bad timing. And here's the part that should wake you up more than the ceiling ever will. If nothing changes, you could be doing this same 2:47 a.m. panic at 72, only with fewer years left to fix it. I've seen this play out with real people in their 50s and 60s. The ones who stayed terrified usually build one fragile plan, save a big pile, withdraw from it, and hope life behaves. The calm ones do something different. The retirement industry wants you obsessed with one big number, 2 million, the 4% rule. Hit this target and you're safe. It's clean, it's comforting, it sells, but it's incomplete. Because retirement doesn't happen in a spreadsheet. It happens in real life. Real life has ugly markets. Real life has expensive years. Real life has the kind of timing where everything costs more while your portfolio is down. The retirees who feel secure aren't just the ones who hit a magic number. They became a different kind of person. They stopped thinking like someone hoping it works out and started thinking like an income builder, a location strategist, a purpose-driven earner, a low-stress minimalist, or a hybrid who stacks all of the above. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 retirement archetypes that almost never get financially cornered, not because they're lucky, but because they changed the rules of the game. We're going to cover the person who turns a portfolio into a quiet paycheck machine, the person who makes their money stronger by changing where they live, the person who earns a little doing what they love so savings don't carry all the weight, the person who needs far less than everyone else because they engineered a calm life, and the person who mixes these into a plan that's incredibly hard to break. Hope is not a retirement plan. This is where you stop guessing and start designing. The first archetype is the income builder, the person whose portfolio doesn't just sit there, it pays them. Picture this. It's the first week of the month. You log in and you see dividends paid, interest received. You didn't sell anything, you didn't time anything, you didn't do anything dramatic. You just got paid for owning assets. Most retirees pile up money, then spend the rest of retirement watching that pile shrink. Every withdrawal feels like scooping sand out of a bucket and hoping the bottom doesn't show before you do. And that creates a specific kind of stress. When your plan is sell assets to live, every market dip feels personal. It's not the market is down, it's my retirement is down. The income builder plays a different game. They spend years buying assets designed to send cash, dividend-paying stocks and funds, bond funds, maybe REITs, diversified, boring, consistent. They're not trying to be a genius, they're trying to be unshakable. Their core question is, how much reliable cash flow can this portfolio produce? Here's simple math most people never run. If you build a diversified $800,000 portfolio and it yields around 3%, that's roughly $24,000 a year in investment income before you touch principal. Then you stack it with Social Security, maybe a pension, maybe a little part-time income we'll get to. Now you're not leaning on constant big withdrawals, especially in bad market years. And yes, let's be real, dividends and interest aren't guaranteed. Businesses can cut dividends, bonds can fluctuate, things change. That's why income builders diversify and think in systems, not in one stock. But the psychological difference is massive, because you stop looking at your account like a fragile pile and you start looking at it like a paycheck engine. You're basically becoming a landlord of corporate America, except you don't get 2 a.m. calls about a leaking toilet. Identity shift. Most people ask, will this go up? The income builder asks, what will this pay me and can it grow over time? Sticky line. Income builders don't chase prices, they collect paychecks. And once you start thinking in paychecks instead of account balances, retirement stops feeling like a cliff and starts feeling like a transition. Quick note, if this kind of retirement without panic content helps you, subscribe, because the goal here is options, not fear.
The second archetype is the Geo Optimizer, the person who understands one brutal truth. Your money doesn't have one value. It has a value where you spend it. Imagine two retirees, each with $600,000. Retiree A stays in a high-cost city. Housing is brutal, taxes bite, insurance is high, groceries feel like luxury purchases. They need $70,000 a year just to live an ordinary life. So they pull bigger chunks from savings and hope the market cooperates. Retiree B asks a question most people avoid. Where does my money work the hardest? They move to a lower-cost area, or they downsize into a place where daily life doesn't feel like a subscription you can't cancel. Suddenly, the same lifestyle costs $35,000 to $40,000 instead of $70,000. On a spreadsheet, they're both worth $600,000. In real life, one of them is living like they have 1 to 1.2 million. Because the game isn't just what you have, the game is what it buys. Think about it. In one place, $8 buys lunch and coffee. In another place, $8 barely covers the coffee, and you're still hungry. In one city, a few $100s might get you a decent room. In another city, it gets you a parking spot, maybe. Most people treat their address like identity. The Geo Optimizer treats it like strategy. Now, does this mean you have to move across the world? No. This could mean leaving a coastal city for a strong but cheaper metro, moving from a high-tax state to a lower-tax one, downsizing to a walkable town with saner housing costs, choosing a location where you can live well without keeping up. Yes, there are trade-offs: family, friends, culture, comfort. This is not a casual decision. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For a lot of people, staying put is the single most expensive form of comfort. And the Geo Optimizer gets it. Sometimes the biggest retirement raise isn't earning more, it's spending the same money in a smarter place. Sticky line: Geo Optimizers don't just change the view, they change what every dollar can do. The third archetype is the purpose earner, the retiree who refuses to choose between money and meaning. We sell ourselves a fantasy: no alarm clocks, no boss, endless free time. And yes, the honeymoon phase is real. But a lot of retirees quietly admit something after a few months. The days started blending together. I didn't feel useful. I felt off. Humans don't do well with zero structure and zero contribution. The purpose earner doesn't retire from being useful. They retire from work they hate. So they design a small, flexible income stream doing work they actually enjoy. Not a 40-hour job, not a second career, a controlled stream of value and cash flow. Examples: consulting 1 or 2 days a week, tutoring or teaching online, coaching or mentoring, freelance creative work, or selling digital products or crafts. Now the math. If you earn $1,200 a month, that's $14,400 a year. At a 4% withdrawal rate, that has the same impact as roughly $360,000 more invested. If you earn $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year, like adding roughly $600,000 to your nest egg. That's the kind of leverage most people never use because they assumed retirement means never earn again. But here's the upgrade. Purpose income gives you options. Bad market year, you work a little more. Great market year, you work less. You're not forced to sell at the worst time. Identity shift. From "I'm done working forever" to "I'm done trading my life for work I hate." Sticky line. Purpose earners don't work because they have to. They work just enough because it makes retirement better. The fourth archetype wins from the other side of the equation. They need far less. Picture two retirees, each with $900,000. Retiree A still has a mortgage, car loans, credit card balances, subscriptions they don't even use, and a lifestyle built around "I deserve it." Fixed expenses sit around $7,000 to $8,000 a month. So even with a good portfolio, every year feels like a tightrope. Retiree B spent the decade before retirement doing something less exciting but more powerful. They paid off the house or downsized intentionally. They killed car payments. They cleaned up debt. They cut spending that doesn't actually increase peace or happiness. Now their baseline needs might be $2,500 to $3,000 a month. Same portfolio on paper, completely different risk. Here's the calculation that quietly rewrites your magic number. Using a 4% rule, every $1,000 per month you don't need to spend is about $300,000 less you need invested. Cut $1,000, about $300,000 less off the required nest egg. Cut $2,000, around $600,000 less. That's not hype, that's leverage. You can spend years grinding to save an extra $600,000, or you can stop financing a lifestyle that doesn't even make you feel good. This is not about living on ramen in a dark room. This is about becoming aggressive about peace. Housing, transportation, and debt are the big levers. The lean freedom seeker doesn't downgrade life. They delete the parts that never mattered. And yes, sometimes it's basically Marie Kondo for your finances. Sticky line, they don't downgrade life. They delete what never mattered. The fifth archetype is the hybrid optimizer, the person who looks at all of this and says, why would I bet my future on one lever? They don't chase one perfect strategy, they stack good ones. Because one-plan retirements are fragile, and real life loves to test fragile plans. Combining strategies doesn't just add protection, it multiplies it. It's like having multiple backup parachutes. If one income source has a rough year, you're not falling, you're floating. Here's a realistic example. Meet Sarah. She has a portfolio generating about $15,000 a year in income, not enough alone. She also does part-time consulting that brings in around $18,000 a year, still not enough alone. And she moved from an expensive area to a place that cut her cost of living by about 40%. Now her combined $33,000 goes further than $55,000 used to. And here's the point. Sarah doesn't need $2 million to feel safe. She needs a plan with margin and options. She has investment income, flexible earned income, and lower fixed expenses. So if the market dips, she's not forced to sell at the worst time. She can turn a knob, earn a little more, spend a little less, or both. No single point of failure. Now compare that with someone who has a bigger portfolio, but also a big mortgage, high fixed expenses, a high-cost location, and a vow to never earn again. On paper, they look richer. In reality, they're more fragile. Sticky line. Hybrid optimizers don't have one plan, they have backups built into the lifestyle. So what do you do with this before the next ceiling staring session hits? You don't need to become all 5 archetypes. You don't need a 40-page spreadsheet. You need one clear next move. Step 1. Pick your starting identity. Income builder, Geo Optimizer, purpose earner, lean freedom seeker, or a hybrid of 2. Choose it. Don't kinda choose it, because default is expensive. Step 2. Run one piece of simple math. Write your must-have monthly expenses: housing, food, utilities, insurance, basic transportation. Then do this. Monthly needs times 12 divided by 0.04. That's the rough traditional 4% world number. Now ask the question that changes everything. How much does this drop if I pull just one lever: income, location, or expenses? You'll see in black and white that you have more control than you think. Step 3. Choose one move you can start this month. Not a dream, a move. Create an income-focused slice of your portfolio. Set a real plan and date to kill one major debt. Test a tiny paid project. Research 2 lower-cost places you'd actually enjoy living. Put a date on it. Put it in your calendar. Treat it like a bill you owe your future self. Because if you don't deliberately choose who you're becoming, you automatically become the most fragile archetype of all, the anxious retiree with one plan, one location, and 0 margin. And margin is what creates sleep. So the next time it's 2:47 a.m. and your brain tries to run the panic math, I want a different line running in the background. I know which path I'm on, I know what I'm building, and I'm not guessing anymore, I'm executing. Final line to remember: either you design your retirement on purpose or you live whatever's left over.